Diary of St. Francis de Sales, September 29th. When the host of diabolical spirits, rebellious against their creator, sought to draw the company of faithful spirits to their side, the Archangel Michael, inspiring his companions to fight, angelically cried out, "Who is like God?" With this rallying cry, he instilled terror in Lucifer and his followers, who sought to equal the divinity. When love for created things tries to capture our hearts and lead us into disobedience to God, divine love, if present in our souls, plays the role of Saint Michael, confirming the powers and forces of the soul in the service of God with those same words. Who is like God? What goodness could there be in creatures that could allure the human heart to rebel against the infinite goodness of the Creator? Theotimus, Part 2, Book 4, Chapter 12. On September 29th, 1598, St. Francis de Sales went to see his bishop, who had arrived in Thonon. He provided details of all his preparations for the new exposition of the 40 hours, the procession, and everything else. Once he received the blessing, he withdrew into solitude to prepare his sermons for those days. Nevertheless, as he confided to his cousin, he had never felt so barren and distracted as on this occasion. Yet he was unconcerned, for he was assured that God would be the one to speak through him. Francis knew that if divine providence wished for him to say something for his glory, it would be granted in due time. Reflection of September 29th. The meditation on September 29th invites us to consider fidelity to God and a deep trust in divine providence. The text references Archangel Michael, who in the celestial struggle declared, "Who is like God?" to confront the rebellion of the fallen angels. This declaration not only reaffirmed the loyalty of the heavenly spirits, but also demonstrated God's supremacy over all else. This episode serves as a metaphor for our spiritual life. When the love of worldly things seeks to divert our hearts and distance us from God, it is the divine love within us that must imitate St. Michael, strengthening our loyalty to God with the same motto, "Who is like God?" It challenges us to question what in the creatures of the world could truly deserve our love, enough to provoke rebellion against God's infinite goodness. St. Francis de Sales teaches us to ground our confidence not in our capabilities, but in God's goodness and will. In his preparations for the 40 hours festivities, Francis experienced deep distraction and barrenness in his meditations, a situation that could dishearten anyone. However, his trust that God would speak through him, if it were his will, reflects a total surrender to the divine plan. For Francis, the most important thing was to align with God's will, whether he found the right words or remained silent. This reflection invites us to be like St. Michael in our own lives, affirming our loyalty to God in the face of the world's distractions and seductions, and to trust that regardless of our limitations, divine providence will guide us and provide what we need to fulfill his purpose. It teaches us to rest in the faith that God will always be our guide and strength.